Since you loved my last video highlighting what I've been eating to lose 40 pounds over the last year and some change, I wanted to share with you some more high protein, low carb recipes that I have been enjoying. These are all easy to make. In fact, they take less than 10 minutes. When it comes to breakfast, I don't always want something savory like eggs and bacon. If I want something on the sweeter side, I don't always want to go through the effort of making low carb pancakes or waffles. So instead, I make this. Grab your favorite low-carb yogurt. Too Good is my favorite brand. It has 4 grams of carbs for every 3/4 of a cup, and it has a good amount of protein. There's 13 grams in each serving. If your store doesn't carry this brand, just use plain Greek yogurt and look for one that's the lowest in carbs. Greek yogurts are generally high in protein, so that's why they make a good option for breakfast. And getting the plain types usually means that you're getting 0 added sugars, which usually it's the flavoring that makes it sweet. This brand, Okios, I don't know how to pronounce it, Okos? It's another brand I like. There's 15 grams of protein in here and only 7 carbohydrates, and you can get them flavored too. Like black cherry is my favorite. I added in about 3/4 of a cup of yogurt, and then for some crunch, I'm adding in a 1/4 cup of keto granola. I have a couple recipes on my website for keto granola. It's really easy to make, and that's what I'm using here. You can just Google KetoFocus granola to find them, or I'll have some that you could buy at the store listed down below. And this is a great replacement for cereal when you're eating low carb, so it's always good to have it on hand. But like I said, you can always just buy keto granola. Next, add in 2 different seeds. At least I think hemp hearts is a seed. It looks like a seed. Add about a tablespoon of each. These are optional, but the chia seeds help keep you full, and they're high in omega-3 fatty acids and a good amount of protein too. I think it's around 2 grams per tablespoon. Hemp hearts also contains a good amount of protein plus omega-3s. 1 tablespoon has a little over 3 grams of protein in it. So far I have over 20 grams of protein here, but I do want to add a little bit more. I try and aim for around 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal. So I'm going to add in some protein powder. 2 of my favorite brands of protein powder are the 0 carb Isopure protein powder. It's a whey isolate protein powder. And obviously I like it because it has 0 carbs. But lately I've been using this one. It's protein from beef bone broth, but don't worry, it doesn't taste beefy or like a cow. At least I don't think it does. And it's also 0 carbs. And then for flavor, I drizzle in a tablespoon or 2 of almond butter, which also contains protein. It's gonna give this bowl some sweetness since I don't add any additional sweetener to this. You could add it if you feel like it's not sweet enough, but I like it just like this. This yogurt bowl comes in at around 40 grams of protein. I usually like to make quick, easy meals for breakfast because after I drop off the kids, I go straight to work. Okay, maybe I don't go straight to work. Maybe I scroll on my phone for a good 5-10 minutes or an hour. After a little bit of this, that, and a little bit of doggy snuggles, it was time for lunch. And I saw this recipe on Instagram for a feta chicken crack salad. I'm not too big on crack because I think it's whack, but I thought the combination of the feta and the chicken sounded delicious. So I thought I would make it low carb since the original version used corn and black beans, which aren't very low carb friendly. This recipe starts with cucumber. Hopefully you have one that's a little bit better condition than mine. This leftover one was a little slimy on the side, so I had to cut that off. I'm using about 1/2 cup of cucumber that I diced into 1/4 moons. Next, I washed and sliced up a green onion. And for protein, I'm using cooked chicken that I got from the deli counter at the grocery store. I think this is from a rotisserie chicken. It's a little bit more expensive to get the pre-cooked chicken, but I like that I don't have to get my hands too messy pulling apart a rotisserie chicken or waste time just cooking chicken ahead of time. Sometimes I don't got time for that. Actually, most days I don't have time for that. This is about 5 ounces of chicken here, which is gonna add around 44 grams of protein. I'm gonna add all of that to my bowl. And then to get a little extra protein and to replace the black beans, I'm gonna add around 60 grams of lupini beans. I love this brand because they are so easy to add to salads or just to snack on. They're 0 net carbs because they're loaded with fiber, and they have around 4 grams of protein per serving. Since I'm adding 2 servings here, these will add 8 grams of protein to the recipe. Another option if you want something that looks more like black beans is to use black soybeans. That is if you're not afraid of soy and you don't think it's the devil. These are pretty low carb and they have lots of fiber and protein in them. Next comes feta cheese. Now I had 2 open containers of feta cheese in my fridge, like most dysfunctional housewives. And after adding around 2 ounces of feta to the salad, I still had 2 containers, so the dysfunction lives on. Next, the original recipe called for white vinegar, so I added around a tablespoon of that in there, and then sugar-free sweetener, because the original recipe called for sugar, but I'm not using that. Gotta use sugar-free sweetener. And I thought it was a little weird, but I went with it. And I'm glad I did because it actually helped. And that's it. That's your dressing, vinegar and sweetener. It's weird. I was hoping the moist feta would melt a little bit to keep the salad from tasting so dry, but it didn't. So I decided I needed to add a little bit more vinegar, about a tablespoon more, and a little shot more of sweetener. And that did help. The salad was decent, not as addictive worthy to have the word crack in the name, but then again, I did butcher the original recipe, so it could have something to do with it. I decided to have this over a bed of mixed greens, and I did end up pouring a glug of olive oil on top to help with the dryness. This came to a little over 50 grams of protein if you ate the entire salad, which I did not. I got full really fast. Like I said, there's a lot of fiber in there. There's a lot of veggies and chicken. So I had to pack up the rest for later. Mid-afternoon is usually when I like to take a break. And instead of reaching for soda or coffee, I've been in a good habit of enjoying a glass of flavored electrolytes from Element. These electrolytes come in a wide range of flavors, but citrus is my go-to flavor. I usually have around a half a packet to a packet and pour some in some ice cold water. It's sweetened with stevia, so it's sugar-free, and it doesn't contain any dodgy ingredients like some sodas do. This packet has 2 grams of carbs, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. And right now, Element's offering my viewers a free sample pack with any drink mix purchase. It's a great way to try some of their flavors without having to purchase them. So get your sample pack with any drink mix purchase at drinkelement.com/KetoFocus. And if you're an Element insider, you have first access to Element Sparkling, a bold 16-ounce can of sparkling electrolyte water. For dinner, I was really feeling like Thai food, so I thought I would make a simple chicken pad Thai that's low carb. For the chicken, I'm using boneless, skinless chicken thighs. We don't care for the flavor or texture of big chunks of chicken fat in our food, so I'm trimming most of that off while I cube up the chicken into bite-sized chunks. After I've cubed up around 24 ounces of chicken, I'm gonna add that to a bowl and then add in some seasoning. About 1.5 tablespoons of soy sauce or tamari, or you can use liquid aminos, then 2 teaspoons of pepper, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, and for a little bit of heat, a half a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Then to hold it all together, add about a tablespoon of avocado oil. You can mix this with your hands, but I thought I'd go with a cleaner option and use a spoon instead. Then add that chicken to a skillet and let it cook over medium-high heat until it's all cooked through. And I did have to add a little guzzle more of oil just to keep the chicken from sticking. While the chicken cooks, I worked on the sauce. Here I used 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon of brown sugar for sweetener, a teaspoon of fish sauce, which I'm surprised I still had in my fridge because I hadn't used it in ages. I don't know if it expires. A tablespoon of sriracha for some heat, and a teaspoon of lime juice. After a quick stir and taste to make sure that it's worthy, set that aside and work on the veggies that are gonna go in this. I'm adding 4 cloves of garlic and then some green onions. My favorite mincer is this one that my husband got me for Christmas a year ago from Wusthof. I think that's how you pronounce that. You can easily mince up a lot of garlic in seconds without chopping off your finger. It's a good day when that happens. For the green onion, I'm attempting to slice these into long strips because they're aesthetically pleasing. If you guys weren't watching, I'd probably just cut them normally like a normal person does, but gotta look good. Then these will go into the skillet to cook for a few minutes. For my noodles, I'm using shirataki noodles from Miracle Noodle. Make sure you follow the instructions on the back when it comes to cooking these. Otherwise, you're gonna be sorry. Shirataki noodles stink. They smell so bad. And they can be rubbery too. So drain them off, rinse them, and then pan fry the water off before you add them to your dish. This is gonna limit the stink and it also helps with the texture. I did try to use these tofu noodles since I didn't think I'd have enough of the Miracle noodles, but they stunk so bad like chemicals that I had to just take them out. They went straight to the trash. While the noodles were cooking in the skillet, I cracked in 3 eggs into the chicken and scrambled it up. Once the noodles were ready and the egg was cooked, I added them to the skillet along with the sauce. You could actually omit the noodles in this recipe and just use bean sprouts instead. I like to add in bean sprouts anyway into my Thai food along with some more aesthetically pleasing looking green onions. This smelled so good. And it made the perfect meal for my husband and I to eat before we head off to go watch some baseball. And if you're wanting more ideas on some higher protein meals that you can make, including what I've been doing to shed those 40 pounds, and then just click right here.